All right, guys, how are you doing? I'm joining you live again, this time on my Facebook page and on my YouTube page tonight. I tried to go live earlier on these two platforms, didn't work, but I managed to get over on Local 12's platform. So just wanted to ensure that my stuff was working tonight. And if you didn't see my earlier live stream, this is pretty much going to be a rehash of that earlier live stream. Let me know where you're checking in from tonight, where you're watching from. Comment below. Please share and like the stream here tonight. That helps us reach a few more people. All right, we're talking snow in the Cincinnati area. For most of us overnight, it's going to be in the 2 to 4 inch range. Could be some spots that go under that. Could be some spots that overachieve and even go over 4 inches. But, you know, it's a healthy snow. The problem with this is going to be the timing. It's coming overnight into the pre-dawn hours of Tuesday morning. So the road crews are going to have trouble in getting things cleaned up before the morning dry. It's just not going to happen probably in a lot of spots. So that is going to mean snow-covered roads, especially untreated roads, but even treated roads are going to have issues due to the high snowfall rates that I expect for probably a couple of hours overnight at least. So plan on a slick, slushy, and slow morning drive. That's the bottom line tonight. There it is. Winter weather advisory. That is up for everyone in the tri-state. If I look down or if I look to the side, I'm looking at the graphics. I'm also looking at your comments here tonight. So winter weather advisory started at 7. It's going to run through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So check in what's going on. Hello to Barb in Westchester, Joan, Liberty Township, Vicky watching in Bethel tonight, Danielle down in Sanders, Kentucky, Alex in Versailles, Stephen out in Bethel in my home county of Claremont County, Michelle in Delhi, Cherie in Butler County, Christina in Fairfield Township, Chris in Ripley, thanks for getting on, Sean in Mount Orb. And what's up, Jake? Jake is back. Jake, it's not going to be a blizzard. We don't have enough cold air. We don't have wind. Jake asked on another stream if it was going to be a blizzard. No, we're not. Although if it were colder and we had a lot of wind and the snow were maybe a little drier, could be. Because you could have a blizzard with a half-inch of snow. It's all about the visibility and the temperatures. That's the definition of a blizzard. This isn't a blizzard, but it's impactful. So that's why the winter weather advisory runs through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Winter weather advisories everywhere, stretching from Kansas, Arkansas, Iowa, all the way into New England tonight. So we're not alone. And, well, here comes the snow. Initially, a lot of this isn't reaching the ground because the air's so dry. So you might see snow on radar, and you look outside, and you're like, nothing's happening. And that's because the snow's falling from the cloud. The radar's hitting it and showing it. But the snow's not making it all the way to the ground. It's sublimating or going from a solid to a gas before it could reach the ground. But it is reaching the ground northwest of Cincinnati. I already had reports up around Richmond, Indiana, of the roads getting covered up there. So, yeah, snow is coming. In fact, let me check some of my latest reports. Here we are. We got snow in the viewing area now. Up in Liberty, Indiana, report of some snow. And in Decatur County, Indiana, reports of snow. So some of that is now reaching the ground, and here we are. We said right around 8 o'clock. So it looks like that was just before 8, in those areas. So it's beginning to reach the ground, this initial push of snow. So 8 to 10 in our northwestern counties, Fayette, Union, Franklin, Ripley County. And then it looks like more like a 9 to 11 kind of thing along the 75 corridor. These are for the first flakes, 10 to midnight for our eastern counties here. And initially, it's just going to be light. It's just going to be kind of, spotty, light stuff. So between now and 10, that's kind of what we see. And then it's after midnight that we get that push of snow, the accumulating. The first initial push will accumulate a little bit, but this is the big push. So after midnight, here it comes. And I'm going to stop it around 4 o'clock in the morning. So between 3 and 5, that is the time that you just got to be aware. And you don't want to be on the roads if you can't help it, 3 to 5 a.m. because the snow is going to come down. Maybe it's some snowfall rates of 1 inch per hour. And, there could be a flash of lightning or a rumble of thunder. I mean, thunder snow's not out of the question with the type of lift in the atmosphere that we're going to see here during that brief period of time. And you'll notice here on Futurecast, it points out some of the darker areas, one right over Cincinnati, one down over Owenton in the Grant County. Now, the model can't predict where that's going to be exactly, so take that with a grain of salt. But there's these bands, these mesoscale snow bands that may set up that may produce much higher snow rates than anything around them. And where those set up, and we're not sure where they're going to set up, we just can't model that. We don't have enough information. The models just can't pinpoint that. But where they set up, that's where some spots may get over 4 inches of snow out of this thing. So that's where we might see some overachievement on the snow tail. So we'll watch that. The only way you can predict that is to watch trends on radar, and it's kind of a short-term forecast. So we're going to have our staff here tonight keeping track of it. I'm going home and going to bed after the 11 o'clock news, though. Tara Blake and Paul Petit have it in the morning. By 6 o'clock, still snow around, but it gets lighter. So after 5 a.m., snow gets lighter. Road crews will be out doing their thing, hopefully trying to help as much as they can. Here's the deal. It looks like between 6 and 7, snow ends for most of us. Still a little bit in our eastern counties, perhaps. And then maybe some flurries linger in through the mid-morning. But, through 10, you might see some flurries. But nothing that's going to stick or add any more totals to the whole deal here. So how much are we talking? Well, for the vast majority of us, it looks like 2 to 4 inches is a safe bet. There could be some areas west of Cincinnati, southwest of Cincinnati that see less than 2. There could be some areas that pick up more than 4 inches of snow. And I would say that along and east of 71, the chance is a little higher. I'm especially watching our southeast counties because if we don't see any sleet or ice pellets mix in here, there's the possibility some spots down there could go over 4. So that's just an area I'm keeping an eye on. But really, it could be anywhere depending on how those bands set up. There could be some spots that pick up over 4. But I think whether you get 2, whether you get 4, whether you get 4.5, the impacts are going to be the same either way. How about our chances for over an inch between 1 and 2 inches? It's 80%. Between 2 and 3 inches, it's 60%. This is for downtown Cincinnati. Between 3 and 4 inches, I've got a 50-50 chance of 3 to 4 inches. Go either way on that. And then 4 to 5 inches, there's a chance, but it drops to about 10%. So it maybe 1 in 10 of us might squeeze out, more than 4 inches. That's a possibility. Maybe 1 in 100. Get over 5. It looks like a 1% chance now, and we'll update these numbers as the night goes on, but that's how it looks right now. Either way, we're talking moderate impacts for the entire tri-state area here. So that is kind of the situation we're looking at here. Moderate impact. So is this going to be a nuisance, a shoveler, a paralyzer? Well, this one is going to be a shoveler, firmly a shoveler. And let me see something. I just want to check something. All right. So, yeah, this is a shoveler for all of us. So not a nuisance, definitely a shoveler. So let me give you an idea of what we're talking about. Clouds early on this evening. We'll begin to see some scattered snow showers developing, though. And then from midnight on, that is when the snow really picks up. Our temperatures dip into the upper 20s. So salt will be very effective at those temperatures. And the ground is warm, so that'll help us out, too, once the snow ends. But, boy, at that peak between 3 and 5, it's going to come down so fast that it doesn't matter if it's fallen on a salt pile. It's going to accumulate. So roads become slick and snow-covered after midnight, slick, slushy, even snow-covered for the morning drive, and then quick improvement by late Tuesday morning and especially afternoon with the sun coming up and, things warming up and the warm ground and the treated roads. They'll get a lot better. So that's kind of the breakdown of what we anticipate as far as road conditions are concerned. Of course, I can't predict what the road crews are going to do. Can't predict, what streets they're going to treat, what streets they're not going to treat, what the priority is there. But that's kind of the general breakdown. Notice after sunrise tomorrow, it's some lingering flurries, nothing that's really going to stick anymore. And then the clouds, they kind of hold tight there for the rest of the day. So that is what we're looking at here. I'm going to try to hit up a few of your questions. Let me back up here on the graphics and go back to our live radar view. One more. There it is. All right, so we've got some snow hitting the ground out in southeast Indiana now. And again, it's going to slowly begin to build in. We got this first initial little wave, and then another wave's going to come. But again, it's after midnight that we're really going to get into the snow here. So let's see if we got some questions here. Peter asked, where's the surface low located? It's right now in southern parts of Tennessee. But Peter, for us, this is more about the upper level trough swinging through in the jet stream energy. So there's going to be that period there from 3 to 5 where lift is going to be maximized in the atmosphere, and that's when the snowfall rates are going to be at their highest, and that's when we might see a flash of lightning or even a rumble of thunder there. So that's really, it's the upper level forcing that's really going to be the major thing here. Surface low, not so much doing a whole lot for us here as this thing comes in. So that's the deal. Do I expect school delays in the morning? Absolutely. Do I expect closings? Absolutely. But, that stuff is so local, and it depends on, how the road crews do and what time school starts and decisions of the local school districts. But, yeah, there's going to be disruption to our normal routine tomorrow. That is for certain. Anyway, that's a look at it. I wanted to hop on my Facebook page again tonight and my YouTube page really quick to give you an idea of what was taking shape tonight. Again, arrival time now to 10 for our far western counties in Indiana, 9 to 11, 75 corridor, 10 to midnight, eastern counties. But it's really not until after midnight that snow really begins to pick up, and when we start seeing the accumulation. So if you're just joining us, I'll run you through the model forecast again between now and 10. Yes, we begin to see some snow in parts of the tri-state. Midnight, it really picks up, and then 3 to 5, I'll stop it at 4. Boom! That's when we get the heaviest snow. The lift in the atmosphere is just cranking. It's like a big vacuum cleaner in the sky, sucking that air up and producing snow. And where you see those darker areas, we may get some banding. And they may not be exactly where the model shows. The model can't predict where those are going to set up. But where those set up, that's where you have the best chance of maybe going over 4 inches of snow. It's possible someone could get over 4 inches of snow with this thing coming through. And then by after 5 a.m., it gets lighter. And between 6 and 7, it kind of shuts off. At least the accumulation of snow shuts off. And then after 7, we're talking some flurries kind of linger in the rest of the morning there, but nothing that's really going to stick. So that is the timeline. If you have to be on the roads, leave early, give plenty of time, obviously, increase following distances. I tell my kids this, don't slam on your brakes. Your brakes aren't going to work on slick roads. Use your gas pedal to control your braking and your speed. That's so important. Because my daughter had to drive on snow for the first time recently, and I got to get her out to a parking lot. But she had to drive on snow, and she was like, whoa, my brakes weren't working. I'm like, yeah, that's the deal. Got to use your gas pedal to control your speed, and be very, very careful if you got to be out in this tomorrow morning. Again, hopefully some really quick improvement as the sun rises, as the roads get treated. With this warm ground and with temperatures where salt will be very effective. So that's what we're hoping. I've got new data that's coming in every hour. I'm going to get a whole new suite of model data. In fact, later on tonight, over on Star 64 at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be breaking all that down. I'll let you know if I see any changes. Maybe we'll get some hints here from the modeling as we get closer to the event of where some of the 4+ inch amounts could potentially set up. Because a lot of times the models won't really have any chance of pinpointing that until maybe a few hours in advance. So that's the situation. So at 11 o'clock, we'll have even more data. And if I see any spots where I believe there could be maybe more than 4 inches of snow, we're going to try to pinpoint that. The Weather Service was trying to pinpoint that earlier in the forecast. I'm just not so certain we could do that still this far in advance, but maybe here coming up closer to 11 o'clock, we'll look at how the models are showing the small scale features and where those bands might try to set up, because it's kind of random on where that happens in a situation like this. But again, I don't think it's going to make any differences to impacts overall. I still think we're going to have some pretty major impacts just due to the timing of this coming just before sunup tomorrow and its relationship to rush hour and just not enough time. I mean, if the snow were happening now, the road crews could probably get things in good shape by tomorrow morning, but it's coming later in the night here, and that's just going to be a big issue. We've seen it time and time again here in Cincinnati. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'm going to try to find some dinner, maybe out of the vending machine. I didn't prepare anything tonight. I hadn't had time to like run home and get dinner or run out and get dinner. So it's kind of like whatever's back in the break room at Local 12. That's kind of what I'm stuck with tonight, unfortunately. So hopefully you had a good dinner tonight. I guess we just had some great food with Thanksgiving, so I can't complain too much. Anyway, I'm going to go grab some dinner. I will be on at 10 o'clock on Star 64. We also stream at local12.com/watch. And also at 11 o'clock, we'll be streaming as well, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. Take care.